Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Gainer Gossip. I am Pluto, and with me as always is.
Hey guys, Ginny here.
And with us today is one of the friends that I've made over at the Initiative Order. I believe head of like marketing type stuff. I don't know your exact title, Bree. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
For sure. Hi, my name's Bree. I am insert fancy title here. I'll do that part. Head of creative for the initiative order. It's just a fancy way of saying that I make a lot of the creative assets for our streams.
You gotta hype it up more than that. The intro videos that Bree makes for every stream I run are
Oh,
fantastic. I'm
see,
always
you're
so sad
phenomenal.
because I don't have the audio when I'm running it because I'm on the OBS, so I can't listen to the intro videos while I'm running the stream.
Your intro videos are so good. You're phenomenal. You're really good.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. I guess, yeah, if I hype it up a bit, I do like cool intro videos. I do video editing, graphic design for overlays, motion graphics. So it's fun. It's a project I am very passionate about and very proud of the work that we've put in on it because I do think it really makes the content that's apart from a lot of other platforms.
Yeah, that's like 90% of the reason I like running on TIOs. I don't have to think about any of that stuff, and Bree makes everything look so pretty for me.
Yeah,
Oh, well, thank you.
amazing.
I have to give credit though to you as well. And like all other game masters, it's such a fun time getting to work with creative minds who have like visions for what they want to put together, but you already have so much else on your plate as a game master
Mm-hmm.
that really that should be the last thing you're having to worry about is what assets you're going to use. So I like stepping in, being able to work with you, with other game masters on bringing that to life because sometimes I'm just sitting there like hitting my head against a wall because I don't know where to start. And then you say something that just kind of like
Mm-hmm.
sparks creativity for me.
Yeah, the Dresden file ones, I'm super excited to see what the overlays are gonna look like because the promos are already looking dope as hell.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that.
But with that, let's get into some questions. Um, so we had Nate on already, and he talked a little bit about some of this stuff. What your perspective on it? Because a lot of it's tied together for the two of you. Um, but what got you into just tabletops in general? Like, did you start with D&D? Like, how long have you been playing, and like, kind of how that's evolved to like now?
Well, I have to say the start for me is going to sound exactly like Nathan's
Hmm.
because we started playing at the same time at the same table. I used to work for a particular cell provider company who I will not name, but I made a fantastic coworker, Jake, who we started bonding over like different geek culture, nerdy interests during shifts. And he mentioned at one point, like, hey, have you ever played D&D? It's been a while, but I want to run it again. And this was back when it was still 4th edition.
Hmm.
Like right at the tail end before 5e came out. And I was like, sure, I guess we'll try this. Nathan and I went over to his house. He was the game master for a one shot where it was myself, Nathan, and Jake's wife, Steph, as players, and that single session ended up turning into a 5-year long campaign, and I'm still playing with that group in a new campaign at this point. So
Still like
yeah, it's
mind
kind of
blowing to
branched
me.
off, but D&D
That's
40
so
was the
cool.
beginning.
That's such a long campaign. I've still have not gotten to run anything like even close to that long. Like an
That's really
actual
cool.
campaign, not a West March. It's just insane to me. It's like an
And to be
achievement, I feel
fair,
like, to get it more than a year even.
I
I
would say
have to
our
say,
campaign. Oh,
oh,
sorry,
I'm
Bree.
so sorry.
No,
I just
no,
want to
you.
say, to be fair, it was so infrequent for like the
Hmm.
first year and a half. So some flexibility. It was like once every few months. It wasn't like a weekly thing,
That's
but it did
fair.
last a long time. I'm sorry, Jenny. Go ahead.
No, no, you're fine. I was just saying, Pluto, that we do have that campaign with Lennon and JR, but I know that's more fun. That's in person. That we've been
I
doing that for like
don't
2.5 years. I was shocked.
I don't really count that as a campaign
I understand why. You don't even
because
have to say why.
Lennon talks the whole time we play and barely pays attention, and then JR just wants to fight stuff. It's not really a cohesive group of a campaign. Uh,
Yes.
I'm honestly just throwing random stuff at you guys at this point, but it's going. So
I mean, it's not just Lennon. It's me too. When I'm with Lennon, we do talk, and yeah,
it's okay.
she rubs off on me. she calls herself a bad influence because I don't pay attention. No, I'm just
The
kidding.
last big fight we though, I threw a really high CR fight at them and at least got Jenny to pay attention since she's the main fighter of the group, so she kind of had to, or they were all gonna die. So that
Yeah.
helped a little bit.
But 5 years is a long time, Bree. That's amazing.
All credit to, I mean, yeah, great players, but also a fantastic game master. Um, if anyone ever gets the opportunity to play at Jake's table, he's at the Rizzo GP on all socials. I'm gonna do a social plug for my friend because why not?
Go for it.
He's a fantastic game master. You'd be awesome to have at his table. Just throwing it out there.
Awesome. Definitely check it out. Um, so Nate told us like what was the big moment for him that like got him hooked on tabletop. What was it for you during that just that initial campaign that you're like, okay, I want to play this like continuously?
Oh wow, that's a big question. There there actually was a moment that kind of came to mind. It was not really early on in the
Mm-hmm.
process of that campaign. I would say it actually took probably at least a year and a half, if I recall correctly, for this particular moment. But it was a really memorable point of a role play encounter I had, where it was my between my character and actually Nathan's characters, where I was dealing with some like outside of the gaming table stuff in life, and it kind of it was a parallel with my character that was completely unintentional, and I was able to pull emotion from that moment in my life and say like, this is what's bothering me, and it kind of just clicked for me in that moment, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
whoa, those are like real feelings that, while yes, apply to me in my everyday world, it's something that I was able to connect with my character on. And that's something that I feel like I got to see Nathan have earlier on in that campaign. The other player, Steph, was able to do that very easily, like seamlessly, honestly. She made it seem so effortless. And it took me a little bit longer than them. But once that happened, and I was like, I really like this. This is really fun. I want to keep doing this like consistently. And I mean, I guess the rest is history,
Yeah,
as
I
silly
think
as that
I think
sounds.
you could say that. Yeah,
No, that's awesome.
yeah,
That's really cool.
yeah. I feel like those moments where you can like pull in real world stuff into your characters makes it so much more. What's the word? Like more deep of a connection to your character and like the world you're playing in. Like
Yeah.
I feel like I've explored so much shit through all of my characters, and like each character I mate's like a different aspect that I want to explore at this point anymore.
Yeah, and I totally understand that too, because like with acting, when I create skits and stuff, I base some things off of like situations that happen in my actual life, so I can connect to the characters really well that I'm playing. And then sometimes, if there is a character from a show or movie or play, whatever, and I feel more connected to them because they've been through similar things as me, it's easier for me to connect. And it makes you feel so in the moment, and just all the emotions come out because you can relate to it. It's I don't know. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, for sure. So with that, I feel like for me, a lot of my characters, and especially like the last year, have been ways for me to explore my gender identity a shit ton. And I know you are also
Nice.
non-binary, Brie. Do you feel like that's been a way for you to like lean into different like gender norms and stereotypes through your characters?
It has, both as a player but also as a game master, I
Mm-hmm.
feel. Like when I had to step into the role of not just running a PC, but running any single possible character they can encounter, or in some systems, force me to create in the moment at the
Mm-hmm.
table. It gave me the opportunity to kind of feel out and I should say feel out, challenge the like confines that I'd placed on myself gender
Mm-hmm.
wise, and
Yeah.
with like gender expression. So yeah, it's been kind of a really good catalyst for that entire discussion for myself.
Yeah, I feel like it's
Nice.
definitely probably pushed the envelope a lot for me, like especially over the last year and a half to like really. So I've been diving more into. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna keep playing non-binary and female characters so I can explore sides of me that I don't explore like in my everyday life here in Ohio. And it just like I feel like there's a lot that goes into that as you're playing like these different characters.
I think that kind of helped me too when I was playing my character, Dick Grayson. But Dick
The
Grayson is not really a
Dick
character, but he's on
Grayson
a show.
look-alike that you made.
But because like I can't play girl characters. Like, I mean, I'm not non-binary, but I am bisexual, and I think like I couldn't play girl characters and be flirting with girls because it felt weird to me because that's before I was out, so I didn't know. And then I think like playing guy characters is an easier way since I'm still coming to terms with being bi to like express that through my character. So I think that's really cool because I just came out as bi like last year, so it's still kind of new to me, but it's something I've always kind of known. It's just growing up in Ohio, it's something that was a little more suppressed because of certain things, you know. Um, but I think like it's a fun way to be able to express that. So it's cool that you guys, you both being non-binary, can kind of like express that with your characters and stuff.
And correct me if I'm wrong, because I might be misthinking here. Does this mean this is a full table of bisexuals right
Yep,
now?
this is
Yeah.
100%. Yep.
Oh my God, that's awesome. So, yay. Welcome to the community of a year late for the welcoming, Jenny, but
Yeah, it
welcome.
makes the whole
Thank you.
background even more relevant right now because the background we have up for the gossip is definitely all bi colors. So it makes it more relevant for
Oh,
this specific
yeah,
episode
it
for sure.
is. I didn't even think of that because I created it and I didn't realize I made it all by colors. And I was like, oh, that's cool.
Well, it is an aesthetic, but also maybe subconsciously you're kind of like, a little bit. I'm doing, you
Yeah.
can't see me because it's a podcast, but the little
Yeah.
hand motion.
Yes, I love that.
They can see you, by the way. This is going up on YouTube too, so they will be
Yeah,
able to
yeah,
see
they'll
you a little
see you on the
bit.
Oh my gosh.
video.
Just warning
And they get
you.
to see me with a giant mug then as well.
It's okay. That's
Hey,
completely
that's
appropriate.
okay. Yeah, I wish I had mine right now. It's in the other room. Then we could all be bi and have our giant mugs.
I mean, usually you have
Rocking the
like 2 or
water.
3 drinks around. That's just kind of a requirement being bi that you have to have multiple drinks within arm reach.
See, I didn't even know that because Pluto also told me that another thing about being bi is like if you, because I've always, when I drink something, I always like hold my pinky out. I never knew that was a thing.
That's
And
definitely like a queer thing.
Yeah,
Like I always either have
I
my
never knew
pinky
that.
or my pointer finger out whenever I'm drinking something. It's weird.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's cool.
Queer culture for the win.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just
Yes.
little stuff you'll notice, like the fact that I am literally sitting cross-legged in my chair at the moment.
So am I.
Yes.
Okay,
Wow.
awesome. I love this for us.
Triplets right here.
Okay, so you said you've talked a little about DMing and playing. Do you have a preference now that you've done a lot of both? Do you prefer to run games or play games, and like why do you prefer one over the other?
You're asking me the hard questions.
Yeah.
I really love both. I do have to say, maybe it depends on the system. I really love running Vossen specifically. That's probably my favorite system to run. I started with D&D, but I haven't ran a D&D game in quite a bit. Now I'm thinking about it. I do like getting to be a player, but I think I do prefer being a game master actually at this point. I just had to make myself a liar. Yeah, I think I prefer that.
Yeah, I feel like there's just more you can do, and you can make up more characters. You can run more different systems. I literally haven't. I have one D&D game that I run. Well, I guess 2 if you count the one with Jenny's friend, but one consistent one that I run offline. But honestly, besides that, I haven't ran D&D really much at all lately. Like I've been trying to run every system I possibly can because I want to play all the systems. Like I went and learned Vossen just so I could run it for you and a bunch of other people, and I was like within like a week or 2 of playing the session we played. So
That's cool.
yeah, I just feel like learning new systems is really fun, especially with the OGL drama. I think pushed more people into trying to play their systems. Like I know Pathfinder specifically got a bunch of people after that, but like I feel like other systems, like more indie systems, are getting it too.
True. The OGL drama was, well, I'm cautiously optimistic about what I've heard. Honestly, I have been kind of like keeping my head out of that entire discussion recently. But I hope that if people are, kind of pushed to explore their systems, that they haven't abandoned that entirely just because, things have maybe gotten a bit more optimistic. Because there's so many awesome systems out there by indie creators, by even just like smaller publishers. They're completely worth the time, and they might actually be a better fit for what someone's trying to accomplish and what the story they want to tell, like how that can help translate it at the table.
Yeah, for sure. There's so many like rules light systems or even like more generic point buy systems that you can pretty much make any kind of campaign you want with. Like I'm running two different Fate games now with the Origin City one and the Dresden File ones, and like you can run any system in Fate. Fate's such a broad system. It's been around a long time actually. But then there's all the Powered by Apocalypse games. I feel like every IP is getting a system anymore. I still want to buy the Avatar stuff so bad. The book looks so
Oh,
pretty.
yes, I actually within arm's reach have it.
That
Oh,
Great.
is
nice.
so dope.
I
Yeah,
love
I
it.
need to get back to collecting my physical books because I have a collection. It's all the D&D books right now still, with like a couple others, but I want to
It
add
is a lot of D&D
all of the
actually, now
books.
that I think about
Yeah,
it.
I want to get Avatar and I want to get Vaesen and I want to get all these other cool looking ass books. I got Cyborg. That was the last one I bought, which is I need to run that soon. But I think Danny's running that as well. I believe soon is what he told me. Because
Don't
of
you have a
course,
Power Rangers one?
I have the PDF. I didn't buy the book.
Oh, okay.
I need to buy the physical books. It's just I have to buy the PDFs to actually play them. So I want to play with online. So it's like I have to buy the PDFs first and then go back and get the books later. Because
Yeah.
not a lot of books give you both, which sucks. If like more books came with the PDF copy, I'd probably buy a shit ton, but they don't, which sucks. Cyborg was one of the few that was lucky enough gave me both, which was nice.
Nice. That's cool.
So I know you mentioned Vossen is like one of your top systems. Do you have any other systems like that you like to run a lot or play in a lot besides Vossen?
I was literally
Uh,
about to
um,
ask that for some reason.
Same wavelength.
Yeah.
Brain cell. Actually funny that you mention it. I also really enjoy running Avatar. Avatar Legends is a very fun system to run. I've played it once before and I enjoyed it as a player. I do really like getting to be the game master for that though as well.
Mm-hmm.
I have been it's been a while, but for another rules light system, I really liked Witches and Spellcraft.
Ooh,
It's
I've heard of
almost
that one.
like
that sounds
oh,
fun.
it's really good. It's you can really make it like as wholesome as you like, or maybe as like dark and like gritty, for lack of a better term, as you like.
Mm-hmm.
It's by Margaret Crone. I believe she's working on like a version 2 of it, like an upgrade. But the entire premise is that you're playing as a coven of witches that are all going to a special magical school. So you can tailor it to be like as high fantasy, as low fantasy as you want. The if it has to be like high school age, college age, trade school witches, I don't know. It really like it's open for your interpretation,
Yeah.
and the entire like character creation process and coven creation, it's all in a Mad Libs format. So
Mm.
you are given like a special outline of like a sentence, and like you have to insert like 3 adjectives for something that will help give like a definition for your school, for your character, for your thoughts about another character. It's really fun. I really enjoyed running that. It's been a hot minute though, so I need to do that again.
I
And
volunteer to
I also
play.
That sounds like
oh
so
You
much
wow.
had me
fun.
at witches and magic school. Like I'm a very easy mark with magic based anything, so I'm
We'll get
totally
a coven
looking to play
started.
that. Yeah,
It'll
for
be
sure.
Yeah.
perfect. Another system I really liked, I want to give a shout out to is Medula. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's
Mm-mm.
similar in mechanics to Merkborg, if you're
Okay.
familiar.
Yeah.
And also kind of similar in aesthetic value as well. It has the potential to be like a really gritty and kind of lethal game if you're running it a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but big shout out to Medula as well. I'm trying to think of other systems because honestly, Boston's been kind of my go-to for the last year or so.
Yeah, I've noticed.
I really like it.
I was glad I was able to run
And
that game. That game, I'm glad that I got you guys all at the end of that and tricked you. It was just so perfect. I
what
did
is Boston like? Oh, sorry.
Fawcen's like mythical, like what's the country? Like not just Britain and Ireland, but like that whole like all those type of mythical creatures in that general area.
Oh, that's
A
cool.
lot of mythical folklore from there, and it's just very very horror based. So like it's not straight up you're
Nice.
gonna die, but a lot of the shit you don't want to mess with, because it can go
That
very
makes
bad
sense.
very quick.
That's
Um,
cool.
the way their session ended, the one I ran for them, there was like Fae either killing the adults or taking the children away because their burial mounds were disturbed, and they had to figure that out. And it came down to the end where they made a deal. It was like they could either get the children back or the adults back. They chose the children, not realizing that the adults also included their party. So they were also all stuck in the
Oh.
Fey realm at the end of it. So
Oh
yeah,
man.
it was perfect.
That's
I love
And I think
that's
Bree's
deep.
character especially got messed up at the end. Didn't he like go full selkie at the end?
I did. Yeah, that was my character's a dark secret and
Mm-hmm.
trauma, which is from a mechanics perspective. Dark secret, it's just that it's something that your character keeps from the party. It can like give the game master something to kind of run with story-wise, and to like create tension within the group. There's also the trauma, which is the event that gave your character what's called the sight, which is the ability to see Vossen or these mythical creatures, because typically they can choose to not be seen by humans. Um, and my
Oh
character's
wow.
trauma was that she was the daughter of a Selkie. So there's some physical distinction between her and other humans that while she doesn't necessarily have a Selkie's powers, she's a descendant of one. So yeah,
Oh.
you fucked her up real good.
Hey, I had to give you the full experience as a player. I had to completely
I
traumatize
loved
you.
it. It was so good. As soon as you started talking about like Faye, I was like, oh, they are going to do some
I've
trickery.
always loved the Fae. Like like obviously I'm finishing the Dresden books before the Dresden game starts. I have a week to finish the last like 4.5 books, but um
Oof.
one of my biggest things in that is just the summer winter court are just so much fun, and I'm gonna have so much fun playing with that because two of our characters chose to be Fae, so I'm gonna get to use them so much, and I'm so happy that they did that.
Yeah, and about that, guess what they did, Bree? They were like, "Oh, I'm gonna start a book club," and invited me and a couple other people. I don't know who all they invited, but they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna start reading the Dresden Files." Read the first book in one day in the book club. None of us even had a chance to start it, and now it's on like the fifth book, and it took them like 3 days to read 3 books. I'm like, "Well,
I
this
read the
isn't a book
first
club because
eight.
I'm not even
I read
started."
exactly through half of the books. There's 17 books. I read 8.5 books in a week, and then
Yeah,
my fixation fell off, and then I just started reading them again like a couple weeks ago.
I
I'm
was
slowly
like,
getting
"This is
back through
not
them
a book
again.
club. This is not a book
So I
club."
need to
It
just
takes
I need to have it kick in this weekend so I can finish everything before the session starts on Tuesday.
It's okay. I got enough fan fiction to read, so I'm good.
It's just I don't read a lot. I burn through shit. Like when Harry Potter was out and I was reading those books before, J.K. Rowling became a turf, I would buy the book the day it came out and finish it before like the next day. Like I would finish it that night.
See, I wish I could do that. Like, it's so hard for me to do that.
I when I get stuck on something, it happens, which is good. I just wish I could control that more
That's
often.
cool though, because you could finish so much of it. Like, I wish I could do that. Like, it's hard for me if I'm like an actual like hard copy of a book to read it for some reason to sit down and read it, but I can read
Hmm.
fan fiction on my phone. I
I
don't
mean, to be
understand
fair,
that.
I'm reading Dresden Files on my phone, but the
Well, yeah,
Dresden File margins are pretty big too, so the pages go pretty quick. I feel like there's a lot
yeah.
of chapters, but there's these chapters like maybe 12 pages, so
I'll
you
catch up
sit
to you
down and
someday.
focus. I mean, I gave you all the books. You can catch up whenever you like.
It'll be a minute, but I'll eventually catch up.
Um, but let's see. With Vason, do you have any favorite creatures? I know you probably love all the art of all the creatures in those books, but do you have any like stand out
Ooh,
to you?
that's a good question.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you're right. I love all the art within it. Side note for listeners, viewers who are not familiar with the work of Johann Egerkrans, look him up because he's a fantastic illustrator, the primary illustrator for this entire role-playing system with other artists too, but his book actually inspired this whole system. I have to
Ooh.
say, the art for the Gleshtig is probably my favorite one. It inspired me, a single piece of art inspired me an entire mystery that I
Ooh,
ran last year on the channel, called The Mystery of Hollow Creek. So it's fun. It's
That's cool.
are you familiar with Gleshtig at all?
I did not get to that one. Nope. I hyperfixated on the
Ah,
Fae as soon as I saw they were a thing in the Ireland book.
completely fair. So if you've heard any type of folkloric tales about like the lady in green, Gleshtig are typically seen in the form of a beautiful, albeit abnormally pale woman.
Mm-hmm.
Typically like long straw blonde hair. But what's concealed is that of cloven hooves. So it's like the lower body of essentially of a goat. And she's seen as a protector. So that was kind of a motivation for my particular mystery, was that this Gleshtig was protecting a flock of goats.
Okay.
And when they were challenged,
Nice.
that's when they kind of amp up and become more dangerous, and they're no longer like living and coexisting peacefully with the humans and the industrialization around them. So it just depends on like the stories that you're telling with it. They can be incredibly malicious and not worthy of like trying to reason with, or they can just be seen as like a protector essentially.
Ooh,
Yeah, I think
that's
that's the thing I
cool.
like about that book. There's a lot of creatures in there that can go one way or the other. You can have them be really intense and horrific, or you can have them just be kind of like just trying to vibe and they're getting messed with in the area and get upset. I could have had those Fae be a lot more chill than, just having them rip people's body parts. um,
Ew.
yeah, it's pretty much all the adults' bodies were just being left like one specific body part behind, while all the kids were getting turned into toys. So it was
Wow.
yeah, they were pretty upset.
Ooh, I can imagine.
Yeah. I think I left the part one session off with Bree finding someone just like completely like Joker smiled.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's pretty
geez.
graphic. Let's see. Questions too.
Can I ask Brie a question too, if that's okay?
Sure. Go for it.
I know you, sorry, you usually ask your guests the questions, but I
No,
was wondering,
chime in.
okay. I know you kind of talked about like your favorite systems to play. Do you ever have like that specific character, like one character that you played that is your favorite in all the games that you played, and a reason
Oof.
why?
Oh, that is, man. I know I've been saying like, hey, Pluto, they're asking hard questions. Nah, just got one up. That's so difficult. There's a few characters that come to mind. I am, oh gosh,
I know
I'm
it's
really,
hard. I'm
it
sorry.
is. I feel like one of them is somewhat of a joke character, but I still really enjoyed getting to play her. Her name was Gidget. She was a little gnome rogue, playing a homebrew subclass a friend of mine had created. That essentially was a how do I put it? A bomb maker.
Mm.
I forgot the correct term for it, but she was absolute chaos. I got to play at Nathan's table, so of course, when my partner's the one that's going to be GMing, I'm going to be chaos, and just make everything more difficult for him.
Nate deserves it.
But
It's
I
fine.
loved that character. She was very fun to play. I just got to kind of like let loose, and just like anything that came to mind, I said. And I don't get to do
Nice.
that as a game master. So it was kind of that fun moment. But I'm also
Yeah.
playing another character I really enjoy right now. It's another D&D character. Um Her name is Tallulah. She is a half elf barbarian. I went Path of the Beast for her.
Oof.
And I had this idea of a backstory that my game master Ray took and he ran with, because I wanted to leave a bit of it vague to where I had questions just as she did about what was happening. And so it's every single session I'm discovering a little bit more, and it's a
Nice.
very fun situation. I also have to say that is thanks to a great group though as well,
Yeah.
who's willing to be collaborative with those efforts. So maybe that's a bit of an influence there, but I'm really enjoying that character exploration.
That's awesome.
I always love when characters give me a ton of backstory, but also leave enough open. Like in the Starfinder game I'm running on Sundays right now, both androids have been chose to be reincarnated, because in that world, androids pretty much are immortal, but they can choose to like reset and get a new life. They don't remember any of their past life or anything. And both my androids have done that, which means I can throw little past memories or past stuff about their lives at them and have it like trickle in. So I have two androids I can
Nice.
completely mess with, so it's really fun. And they both left it like the one gave me a lot of like people that they have contacted and like some ideas like how they are now, but not a lot about like their previous lives. I can play with all that. Gus gave me like I don't remember shit. I don't know anything from my past life whatsoever. No one, no anything. So it's like, okay, I have a bunch of ideas for your character that I'm gonna throw at you. It's gonna be so much fun.
Poor Gus.
Gus has played with me longer than anyone else. He should know by now what I'm gonna do to his characters.
That's true.
But yeah, I feel like having the table be set to be collaborative is the best. Like I've gotten really picky with my tables, especially with like a lot of the drama that's come out in the tabletop community like I feel like the last year or so. And I feel like Twitter is just every time you go on Twitter there's something going on anymore. So yeah, I thought I'm really glad we got that. The TIO has such a good community of people. I got really lucky that I joined that when I did, because I was pretty much gonna pull away from the community when all the 18 shit came out. So I was supposed to meet her that Friday. So yeah, I'm really glad Ghost sent me the invite like within that same week, because I was about to be like, okay, I'm just gonna play with my friends. I'm gonna chill if I hit people online, because yeah, there's a lot of toxic people that are trying to like be the next Critical Role or Dimension 20 or Adventure Zone or whatever, and don't really want to just play for fun like you should. Like all the other stuff's cool if it happens, but like if you're not playing for fun, why are you playing in the first place?
Yeah, but on the positive side of things, like I think you have to look at it at a point where it's like you found such a good group of people and focus on that, because don't focus on the drama, because you don't want to play with those people anyways at the end of the day. You want to play with genuine people. So
Yeah,
I
TIO
think
has a pretty good group of people, and then I mean Nate's there, but he's okay.
Yeah, that's
wow.
fair. I'm kidding. He's fantastic. I give him a hard time, but I don't sing his praises often enough in public. He's very much committed to trying to make um as misused as this phrase is, a like inclusive and safe space for
Mm-hmm.
people. Although I realize when that is said, it sometimes raises red flags, well deserved at times,
Yeah.
because of, like you said, things that have happened within, this particular.
There's definitely communities that use it to try to draw people in, and then you get there and it's like, okay.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna say names, but I know one recently that came up that TIO had like somewhat of a thing with another channel that was kind of shitty, but it just sucks that there's people out there that do that still. But like I said, yeah, if we just focus on people that are actually fun to play with, I feel like it's the best thing to do. Which I still haven't played with Nate yet. It's crazy. I haven't played a game with him or ran a game for him yet. That needs to happen soon. Like I was supposed to do Gaia Complex like forever ago, and I joined as like a one shot, and that fell through, and I've never played with him since.
Wow. I would
I need to
assume
get
you
going
guys
on
already
that.
played a lot of games together.
I've signed up for 2 games of his that had to be reset, and I don't think he's signed up for any of mine yet. So we gotta get around to that.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Definitely should.
But it's nice to have a space where, you guys feel, like you said, an inclusive, safe space, because that's so important. Because, like, even just, I'm going to say this real quick, because, sorry, I'm not trying to get into the TikTok, because I know we're talking about D&D, but
No,
even
you're
with
good.
TikTok, okay, with, like, acting and stuff, like, it's so cool. I met, like, this really good community of actors who are very genuine and down to earth, and we're not, like, competing with each other. We generally care about each other. We celebrate each other's wins, and that's really cool to have, because there is a lot of drama also on TikTok with like certain actors and certain different things. So it's cool just to meet your people and have that like inclusive, like you said, community where you support each other and uplift each other, but you also have the same passions and you're like-minded individuals, because you are trying to accomplish the same thing pretty much, which is really cool.
Yeah.
I feel like it's regardless of your I don't want to say fandom, or like essentially like your particular interest, or like your community, there's always going to be, unfortunately, people who aren't going to be in it for the best of reasons, and don't always look at it from the same perspective as I think the three of us do.
Yeah,
I'd say it makes me very happy when I hear people saying that, their perspective of the initiative order is that it is welcoming and it is inclusive, because that's been our goal from the get-go. I unfortunately had a very bad history with some channels, so that was like a big leap of faith in kind of taking on this project with Nate and with Danny. But the only reason I feel like we can openly say that, like, we try our best, is because it hasn't always been perfect. There's been situations where we have to, intervene on stuff. And I think what makes it different is that the whole team, because there's a whole team of us at this point now, which is kind of wild to say. We're there to run a channel. We checked our egos out a long time ago. It's not about us, it's about a community. And I want the initiative order to be like a springboard for other people to be able to like, hey, maybe the barrier of entry here is a bit easier and we can help you. If you enjoy it, look at these other people that we know that are also doing really cool stuff. Maybe you want to work with them too, because it's not meant to be confined just to us. It's meant to grow. I at least that's just my perspective
No,
of it.
that's
So I love
Yeah.
getting to see people going off and doing things on their channels. I think that's considered a win. It means we did something right.
yeah. I totally feel
Yeah,
like
that's awesome.
the amount of people I've known in the space has just keeps dramatically increasing every time I run a game or join a one shot or do anything, because it's just like new people almost at every table. I mean, I drag Gus or David around with me every game just so I could get one of them into a game, but like I get new people like at my table all the time that I've never even met before. I just have only seen in other channels and stuff. So it's like really cool to like expand that network slowly, because tabletop community is not as big as people think it is. It's very inclusive. I feel like there's a very like small core group of people. So like once you start playing with like a few new people, you're eventually like getting in like pages of people who have like thousands of followers, and it's just like they're just chill people that also just want to play games with people like at the end of the day. So
That's what it's about, is just doing what you love at the end of the day.
I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't fun. Like, why would I want to sit for 3 or 4 hours running or playing in a game if I'm not actually enjoying myself?
Yeah, and it's about doing what you love, and people see that. Like if you're looking at the follower count or looking at how many people like a video, and I'm talking about everything like
Mm-hmm.
D&D, tabletop, TikTok, whatever. It's like you're just doing it for that. Don't do it for that, because that's not what it should be about. It should be about doing it because you love it, and you're passionate about it. And for me, like I generally want to help other people. Like I like seeing people succeed, and like I like collabing and meeting new people. So for me, it's like about my love and passion for it. Like I know it is for you guys. It's not about how far you're going to get. That's not your focus. It's about just playing with people you really like, but also doing what you love. And that's all that really matters, honestly. Because not a lot of people have that same thought process. So it's good to have that process.
Yeah.
Because that worked with a lot of toxic actors, especially when I lived in LA. That's all I'm gonna say. So like but then I worked with a lot of amazing people too. But you just have some people that have really big egos. You have some people that are very nice. It's not about the thing that you're pursuing. It's just about the person in general, like who you work with, I think.
Yeah, that's for sure. So talked about a lot about tabletop. Let's pull away from that. What other hobbies do you have outside of tabletop games? I know you do a lot of
Oh,
like
that's a good
art
question.
stuff, and I've seen you've been posting more portraits lately on social media. But like, yeah, what all do you like to do in your other free time that you have?
Oh gosh. It's funny because so many of my interests kind of branch off from tabletop
Mm-hmm.
games, but I first kind of got involved in the space because of photography actually, and that's
Mm-hmm.
still like one of my first
Nice.
first loves in terms of hobbies. I love photography. So that's a passion of mine. I have gotten more into art like you mentioned. It's it was typically just like graphic design, and I started with Nathan's loving encouragement, going into actually trying my hand digital art, and that's where like the portraits have kind of come into play, and I really enjoy that. So that's been eating up a lot of my time. But otherwise, I'm kind of a homebody. Nathan and I both
Mm-hmm.
are. So it's like video games, other tabletop like board games, like going outside when there's not a foot of snow on the ground. But yeah, it's kind of just a lot of I guess creative stuff. I guess that head of creative
Go
title is
figure.
kind of coming into play everywhere.
Yeah, makes sense. I'm also a homebody. Jenny is very much not, so I do get
I love
dragged
how
out
you
of the
tell
house
everyone that.
because
Like
it's true. If it wasn't for you, I
it's
probably would leave the apartment.
it's half and half. So like let me just say this real quick. It's half and half, truthfully. Because there are some days when I'm so busy, like if I'm making content or doing acting stuff, I just want to chill and I just want to relax, watch a show, hang out with you, obviously, babe, or like, just like watch a movie. I like being home. I like having me time too, because I think that's my zodiac sign since I'm a Cancer. I really like me time. Like if I guess I'm an extrovert, but if I'm around people for too long, I start being like, oh my God, I need time for myself or else my mental health, you know? So like I like me time too, but I do like going out. I like going bowling. I like going to the movies and those kind of things. So Pluto always says that to people. I'm like, it's half and half, but I'm just like the person I get excited about everything. So I generally love going out because I love experiencing new places and new things. I'm like, oh, a new restaurant to eat at or this new place. I just get excited. I don't know.
No, I love that. I'm just very lazy and don't like to do anything
You
outside of the house
are.
if I
No, I'm
can
just
help it.
kidding.
I could sit at my desk all day and be completely happy. Everything's within arm's reach of me here.
Let's think of this in a positive way. You enjoy comfort,
I do.
and Ginny enjoys adventure, new
Yeah,
experiences.
It's good.
that's
We balance
true,
each other out.
actually.
She does most of
Yeah.
the adventures and most of the talking for us as a couple when we're out with people, so I don't have to. I don't have to be super social if I don't want to be. So it's really nice.
Yeah, but I'm definitely an extrovert introvert, I will say though, because I do need me time. Like I don't know if you guys, well, I know you're like that, Pluto, but I don't know if you're like that, Brie. But do you need me time too? Because I feel like I need time for myself. So sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. Recharging. I love
Yeah,
people. Everyone's fantastic.
yeah,
I might just go sit in the corner for a bit though
Hmm.
yeah.
afterwards.
And I love video games too, so I do like video
Mhm.
games.
Yeah, whenever I'm in a group event, there's like a certain amount of time before I have to go retreat to a corner or go like outside or something and just vibe for a little bit. I have a very low social meter at points.
But
I can't wait for Gen Con this year, but I know like at the end of the nights before we do like our group hangouts and stuff for everyone that's there, I'm gonna take like an hour or two just be like chill in the hotel room.
nice. But I actually have a question for Bree because I thought that was really cool that you were talking about photography and also like how you got into digital art and everything. So when did you first, because I don't think you mentioned this yet, when did you first like realize you love digital art? Because you're very good at it. And truthfully, like you're one of the best I've seen digital art wise that has made digital art and all of that. So when did you realize that you were passionate about that?
Ooh, well, thank you. That's very sweet of you to say. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's true.
It's um it's it's hard to kind of actually narrow it down like when I realized I was passionate about that when it came to like the portrait work digital art side of things. That's a fairly recent development. I think I started back in August, September of last year. Because
Nice.
Nathan, so sweet. A birthday gift to me was a new iPad that I got Procreate,
Nice.
the app on, and
Hmm.
started experimenting with the brushes. I downloaded, invested in some like specifically like oil-based brush packs, if you will.
Hmm,
Um and just started experimenting with that. So it's like my current style. It's like more of a classic oil painter style, but digital art format of it.
nice.
Is probably like the fourth style I've experimented with, and the one that I feel I've enjoyed the most. So it's still pretty new. It's still like a half a year if I'm doing math right. 7 months ish, but that's a recent development.
That's amazing. No, like you telling me that, that's amazing because I say this with like every truth. I can't even talk today. I say this with every ounce of truth in my heart. I feel like you've been doing it for years because it's very good, like
Well,
really
thank
good.
thank
You're
you so
welcome.
much.
I always tell like Pluto, I'm always like, because they show me like the intro videos and the art and everything, and I'm like, oh man, did Brie make this? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, Bree's so good at this. Like, this is amazing. I always say that. I'm like always saying that when he shows me.
You're the sweetest. Thank you so much. I have to say, I feel like even though I've only been doing the portrait work for like, well, like I said, last 6, 7 months, I feel like there's experiences with like other forms of art that have kind of helped
Hmm.
in that regard. So it's like photography being like the kind of starting point has helped a lot when it came to I had to get familiar with Photoshop, for instance, and Lightroom when I was doing that, which led me into graphic design. And then I thought, you know what? I'm really enjoying this. I'm going to jump off and do Adobe Premiere Pro, After Effects. And it's just kind of like connected from one thing to another to where it's like, oh, picking up this iPad and working with layers was so much easier only because I knew how to do that for
Hmm.
another project in a different format, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
makes
Oh
total
yeah,
sense.
totally. That's really
I feel like
cool.
with anything creative, like you dive into something and you end up diving into like so many other related things. Like you can't help it,
Yeah.
whether it's like acting, D&D, tabletop, art in general. Everything's just so tied together. Like you can't just do focus on the one thing without getting pulled in a million different directions.
Yeah, definitely. Because I feel like it all tells a story in a different way. Like art tells a story, video editing tells a story, tabletop, acting, everything kind of joins together because you're kind of telling a story from like a picture, a video, a skit, a game, and looking at it like that, it's pretty freaking cool, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Um, so is there anything that you haven't done in the tabletop space that you like want to do going forward? Like, is there any people you want to play with? Is there any games you want to run or play in? Is there any like conventions you want to go to, etc.? Like anything you haven't done in the space that you just want to like get your teeth into?
Oh, wow. That's another big question. Holy shit. Sorry for my language, but
You're
No,
good.
you're good.
I mean, the list of people I'd want to play with, that's a ever-growing list,
Mm-hmm.
to be honest. I feel like, hey, Jamie, your name's on that now as well, because I've gotten the chance
Oh,
to play with
thank you.
Pluto. It was fantastic. But honestly, I do kind of just want to get the chance to play more with members that are in our community and like the
Mm-hmm.
initiative order specifically, because I don't really play in a lot of games. I mostly run them, which is fun. I love it so much. It's just a bit of a different experience as a player. And getting to watch other people kind of take the reins as the game master. That's one of my favorite things, especially for newer game masters, because I feel like you just see things from an entirely new perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in terms of like projects, oh, that's big. I mean, I've been really lucky in the fact that like I've been involved in a crowdfunding campaign doing like the video editing for Coyote and Crow's most recent crowdfunder that
Mm-hmm.
they did.
Nice.
Fantastic group to work with. Connor Alexander, I cannot recommend enough. Really great vision and really fantastic advocacy,
Mm-hmm.
both for native groups, as well as just for creatives in the space. But I don't know. There's so much I would like to do. The only thing I think I really haven't branched out and done is doing like actual writing for anything. I think that could be cool. I don't know if that's necessarily like
Ooh.
something I would flourish in because
Yeah.
I like telling the story. I just don't know if I could put it down in words on a
That's
page.
where I'm at. I have like
That's cool though.
3 different writing projects right now that are sitting on my computer, and it's like I know like the ideas I want to put down, but like changing that into like a book format. I'm like, I have a couple writer friends I might have to pull in to help me like clean this up when I get my ideas down on paper. So I'm gonna do the 2D20 thing that Danny and them are doing over at Modifius. And then I have a system I'm trying to build completely from scratch, and then me
Ooh.
and
Wow.
Corey have a Powered by Apocalypse game we're trying to work on whenever we have time to get back to. So like I have so many stuff I want to write, but like it's so hard because I'm not a writer. I'm not a person that's good with words whatsoever. I wish I could. I wish that's the one thing with my GMing that I wish I could do is like get more into detail when I describe scenes. Like I tried to do that a little bit with the lore the other night for the open circuit studio game that I ran. I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to do an intro and actually try to like do this to start off the scene because like that's the thing I feel like I struggle with the most as a GM is like going into it's like excessive detail about like the scene, like what everything's looking like. I feel like I just go straight to like the interactions and kind of avoid like the setup a little bit.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, but try, I don't know. I'm not a writer either, and people don't. Okay, this is embarrassing to say. I write fan fiction, but it's embarrassing because I'm not the best writer. That's why I say it's embarrassing because I've gotten a couple likes on my stories, but I don't
A
tell
couple
people
of
my.
lights. Your Jenny and Marcus story was like the #1 in the category.
Yeah, but that was. Yeah, but people don't know like my name. Like
But
what I'm
it
saying
still
is
liked your story.
okay, yes, people that don't know me, but I don't give my story like that's the one link I don't give people is because I have
I'm
an
gonna find them all and share them across
no, I
everything.
will no. I have an archive of our own and a Wattpad, but I don't give people my like link to read my stories that know me. Because for me, writing the reason I say it's embarrassing is because I'm not a writer. I'm completely new to writing, but I just wanted to tell a story about like my favorite ships, So I'm like, I'll just do this, but people don't need to know my stuff. So people that don't know me, yes, it did get rated that, but that's only out of a couple stories. And that's people that don't know me, but I don't feel comfortable sharing that with people that know me at the moment because I don't feel like I'm a writer. So basically my point is if I can do that and I'm not a writer, besides like improv skits, I mean, I guess that's kind of writing, but it's the top of your head, just improving. You can definitely, both of you can write something because you guys are already used to like, controlling the game, controlling the scene. You just gotta push yourselves and you can do it because I'm not a writer and I'm trying my best to write that story. It's like 30,000 words right now.
Jesus.
but
Wow. Oh
yeah,
my
like it's a lot. But what I do is how I write is I just take my phone and use my notepad when I'm writing and then just, add in, whatever. Basically, I'm basing this one off of like season 2 just ended of Jenny and Georgia, and I love that show. It's like one of my favorite shows. So I'm going from like season 2, what could potentially happen. But like I said, not comfortable. I'm not sharing my tag. People watching, you're not gonna know what my tag is. You're not gonna know what my story is. But yes, I do write for fun because it just helps me with my anxiety and stuff writing. So
Yeah, that's
That
fair.
totally makes sense. If I
yeah,
may make like a second point though, not to challenge you just now, but
yeah.
when you were saying like that, oh well, they're just liking this, but not because it's me. I feel like that says more about it. Would you rather someone be liking and like engaging with your content because they like your content or because your name's attached to it?
That see, that does challenge me. That does challenge me. That makes me think I may be a little bit better of a writer than I'm thinking I am, Bree. Thank you.
Yeah, because
You're
to
welcome.
to them you're just another fan fiction writer. They're not reading it because it's you. They're reading it because they want to read the ship. They read the story and they like it.
Yeah, that's true. I never thought of it like that. So thank you.
Yeah, for
Welcome.
sure. I mean, makes you feel better. My 2D20 system has a title, and that's it at the moment. I have ideas in my head, but I have not even mapped any of it out yet because I don't even know where to start. So,
Well, you'll get it. Don't worry. But I think it's cool that you guys do GM because I think it's like, in my opinion, and I was telling Nate this when he was on, it's like you guys are the director of like a show or a movie and you're kind of seeing what the characters do. And that's kind of interesting to look at it that way. If you're looking at it from like an acting point, like you're the director because you're the game master, but then you see like it's kind of cool to see like how your characters play their parts, like they're the actors and how it unfolds kind of.
Mhm.
we're
Good way
directors
of
in the
looking
way
at it.
that
Yeah.
Taquito, Wakiti, and Thor is. We're a director, but we're also playing some of the extras, popping in and playing extras as
Yeah,
well.
exactly. Yeah. It's
I'm
an
gonna
interesting way to look at it.
I'm gonna self-insert Korg into a random game now.
I love Cord
You
so
should totally do
much.
that.
I would watch a movie. I would watch a Cord movie. I'd watch the hell out of a Cord movie.
Same.
It's never gonna happen, but it would be amazing.
Absolutely. Although I have
Oh
to say, I'm so sorry if you don't mind me kind of branching off
no, you're
with that.
good.
Because Pluto, I think we actually are sharing a player at the moment for your Starfinder
Yep, Isabel.
game.
I
Isabel.
totally ripped them as soon as I saw them in there. They signed up when I put it on there, and I was like, oh yeah, I know that name.
Oh my gosh. Isabel's
Nice.
fantastic. I don't want to
Isabel
get
is
too
awesome. They dove into Starfinder so much. I don't even have to look rules up during my game because they've already learned the whole system. They're just like going off.
Wow.
It's like having an assistant GM at the table. It's so nice.
Yeah,
That's
they're like a
amazing.
sponge for all of it.
Yeah,
It's
it's insane.
fantastic. And I don't want to like give any of her characters information away for the Vossen game I'm running right now, but oh my gosh, the amount of energy and like thought that Isabel puts into things. I'm just like, I love it. It's just chef's kiss as a
Hmm.
game master to work with.
They're one of my two
That's
androids.
awesome.
They're the one that gave me all
Ooh.
the characters and stuff, but not all their future or former memories. So have a lot of fun stuff to tie into their character. But I need more time to watch all the shows TIO has. I just started Death in Space with Danny and Corey and
Mm.
Maz because those are the three that I know from that show, and I'm trying to get to that. It's like I need more time to watch all these actual plays. There's so many. It's just I need more time in the day, honestly.
I feel like we all need more time in the day.
Agreed.
Yeah, there's too much to do. Not enough time at
Petition, more
all.
hours to be added, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm
Right?
like, if a day could just be like 48 hours instead of 24, I'd be very happy.
I feel like I still wouldn't have enough time. I'd just fill it with
You
more
would have
stuff and
enough
run out.
time.
No, I have so much shit I want to do. I would never have enough
Oh
time.
my gosh. You're
Uh,
so funny.
okay. Do we have time for like one more question? So, um, what do you want for TIO going forward? Like, what do you want to expand on for the group? Like, do you have any ideas you want to add in, or just like, is there anything you want to do more yourself with the group?
Ooh, great question.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I think I just want to, this is gonna sound like you probably got good answers, cool answers from like Danny and Nathan if they were asked, but
Listen,
my
your
thought is like
answers are amazing. Okay.
uh I just want us I just want us to continue growing feasibly. Like at a level to where we don't lose sight of what the
Yeah.
Hmm.
reason the community was created for. That's one thing
Yeah.
I'm especially passionate about. We do this as a passion project. None of us take money to do this. If anything, we've put money into it.
Hmm.
But happily so, because it's led to some really awesome friendships, great experiences, and I just want more people to be coming and pitching shows to us. Just saying. Thank you, Pluto, for doing that so
Yeah,
frequently.
I have an
We
issue.
adore
I run
you.
one. I just continuously run games now. It's okay. I have many
It's
more
so
systems and ideas to
appreciated.
run, so that won't stop anytime soon.
Oh.
Good. And so, hey, viewers, listeners, if you want to explore running a game on a stream and are looking for a fun place to do that, hey, think
Hmm.
about us, because it literally is fun for us, and it's a huge favor that you're doing for us in a community. So
And
we'd
they
love to help.
definitely take a lot of the details out of it. They run tech if you need to run tech. They have the design stuff set for
That's
you.
so
You literally
nice.
just have to get on and run a system. That's it. Makes it a lot easier.
I honestly
I
admire you.
personally run tech so Danny doesn't have to stay up all night because he's 6 hours ahead. But
Yes, thank you
um,
for doing that. It's so helpful.
I feel like if I run TED, it makes it easier for me to run more stuff too. And I even told Nate, like, yeah, I'm totally like for games I run, I'll run TED. That way I have a better chance to make it in as a player too.
It definitely helps us. Otherwise, it is somewhat put on to like three of us. So,
Hmm.
and there's only so many hours in a day. So it definitely is helpful when people are able to be like self-contained in that sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't want to give you a big head, Pluto, but I honestly admire you because you do work really hard. And
Mhm.
okay, that's all I'm gonna say. No.
I try. I can't focus on one thing at once, which helps sometimes when it's not being a detriment. So I always want to run a million different things and do different things. I'm already thinking of the next 2 games I'm going to run on my own channel. Like
Nice.
Starfinder ends in May. I need to run something on that Sunday after, and I have 2 Mondays free up, so I'm going to run something else on those 2 days. It's a problem, honestly. I have too many
No, but
Where
things
does
that
the
you
I want
work
energy
to
come
really
run.
hard.
from?
Yeah, there's just too many things in the day that I want to run that I just don't have time to run. And I need to run more community games too. Like I already have like 2 or 3 ideas for April. And I'm debating running something for March, even though March has already started now. I'm like, I found it. I've started reading Lancer, and I'm like, Lancer's so fun. I want to play it, but I'm gonna probably run it, so I can play it that way.
It makes me laugh too because when we first started dating and when we first met, I was always like, "Oh, get on video with me, or do this, give me, or do this with me." And Pluto always used to say, "I will never do anything on video. I'm not a camera person. I will not be on video." I'll do and now pretty much all your stuff is on video.
Yeah, I did TikTok for a little bit there at the
Yeah, yeah, you did
beginning of
that too.
COVID
Yeah,
until I fell off with it. But yeah, I mean,
but you've
I
definitely
needed a
opened up a
hobby
lot
when COVID
more.
hit, and then I fell even further. And as I just started playing tabletop like casually, and then I fell into some old Geek and Sundry videos, and then Dimension 20, and then once I found Dimension 20, it was over from there. Because
It's really cool though that you found that passion. You
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah, it's
you
fun
too,
though.
Bree.
But
As weird as it sounds, the pandemic honestly is kind of a huge reason why I'm as involved in this space as I am
mm-hmm,
now. And I think that's the same for a lot of people. It's kind of a silver lining on a really unfortunate period of time that is still ongoing,
yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I
I
was saying.
mean,
I was telling Jenny, like, if I wouldn't have been for the pandemic, I probably wouldn't have even got into tabletop to the extent that I did. Like, I would have just probably played it occasionally, if that. I wouldn't have definitely probably wouldn't have started streaming it or anything. So,
yeah, and I get that too because it's the same for me. Kind of like I was just doing music, like singing and stuff, but acting. I was part of a really toxic thankfully now I'm in a good acting agency in Ohio, but I was part of a really toxic one in Ohio. And there's this big convention in LA. Basically, a lot of stuff happened that made me quit acting for about 4 to 5 years. And then the pandemic hit, and I was like, I'm just gonna do it. Like, other actors inspire me on TikTok. I'm just gonna try to put my skits out there, put my stuff out there. But if it wasn't for the pandemic, I definitely wouldn't be on there. So the pandemic's not a good thing, but like you said, it's like a silver lining from that, like for you guys and for me, because it helped connect me back to acting again, which is my first
Mhm.
love. So
I mean,
those are
TIO
amazing.
literally started because of the pandemic. So if it wasn't for the pandemic, there would be no initiative order, and Bree wouldn't be sitting here with us right now.
Yeah, it's
That is
crazy how
true.
things work out like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think TIO formed around the same time I started diving into all this stuff. So it's crazy to think about, honestly. It's only been 4 years. It feels like it's been forever because time's weird now with the
Has it been 4
pandemic.
years? I thought it was 3 years. Oh wow.
It's 2023 now, so yeah, it's been 4 years. It feels like it's still 2018, but time is
What happened
weird.
at the very end of 2019 going to 2020? So yeah, it's been about 3 years and a couple months. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, me and Jenny got together in 2016, so like half of our even like
Almost 2017.
relationship has
Yeah.
been during the pandemic, which is insane.
Yeah, because we got together in
Like, yeah, like
2016. It
2 weeks
was
before, yeah.
2 weeks before 2017, and I was still in LA at the time. And then I moved back to Ohio in June of 2017, and the pandemic hit in 2019. So yeah, half of our relationship has been during the pandemic, which is
Yeah, it's crazy
crazy.
to think about, honestly.
And for a person that likes to go out, for me to have to stay in for so
Yeah,
long, that
it
drove
was
me
tough. It
nuts.
was definitely tough.
Mhm.
Luckily, you
So
found
yeah,
TikTok when you did, or I think you would have gone crazy, like stir crazy with not having anything to do.
probably,
Especially in our
yeah.
last apartment because it was very tiny compared
Oh
to where
yeah.
we're at now. So
Probably, yeah. But I really am grateful for TikTok because I did have a toxic agency that I was a part of who really killed my love of acting, but that really got me back into it. So I'm really grateful for that because I was afraid to put myself out there because of my old, and I people know this on my TikTok, I talk about it all the time, but my old agent was not a nice person. Basically told me like I wasn't pretty enough to be an actress because I didn't have blonde hair and I wasn't super thin. And I'm not even fat at all. So I'm like, okay, well, whatever. And it just killed my self-esteem for a while. But thankfully I just blocked that out and just finally did what I wanted to do. Because honestly, there's no typical way to look as an actor, anyways. So that was all just BS.
True.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I think with that, I don't think I have any more questions. So Bree, where can everyone find you on social media? Do you have anything you want to plug that you're working on at the moment?
Ooh, well, thanks for listening and or watching, everyone. You can find me on Instagram and on Twitter at Brianna Flame. I'm very original. I just went with my name because it was
That's fair.
easiest.
I love that.
Or over at the Initiative Order on Twitch. I am working on a few projects at the moment, none of which have actually been announced yet. So unfortunately, I can't plug them, but keep an eye out on Initiative Order socials because we do have some really fun stuff coming up. Um, and aside from that, that's pretty much where I'm at right now. Thank you so much for having me on. I really enjoyed this discussion.
Yeah, no problem. We're
Thank
glad to
you,
have
Bree.
you.
It's been so much fun.
Yeah, for sure. And then for us, I think, speaking of initiative order, well, it'll already have aired by the time this is up, but I do start the Dresden Files Accelerated game just in time. Here, Dresden's Fate, I believe, is the title. Starts March 14th at 10 p.m. Eastern. It'll be every other Tuesday for about like 12 or so episodes. Um,
Nice.
I have my superhero game on OCS on the opposite Tuesday, same time, same amount of episodes. For Origin City Suits in the Dark, both are using the Fate systems. Origin City's Fate Core, and then Dresden File uses like an offshoot of the Accelerated system. And then Sunday is my Starfinder actual play, so tune into that. It's getting pretty wild, but I think we're gonna finally take care of some of the stuff that they need to take care of and get back on track next session. So that'll be fun.
Nice.
And then you have anything you want to plug, babe?
Sure. You guys can follow me on all my social media. All of it's just being Jin. That's just being, and Jin is GIN. On TikTok, I have a couple skits coming up with some really cool actors I'm working with. And then my series that I have, The Dating Parade, I think it's episode 11, I believe, coming out soon on my TikTok channel. So definitely posting new content all the time on TikTok, YouTube as well. That's my acting channel, Just Being Jen, and Instagram. And then also, I actually have my song coming out, Not Okay is the name of it. And I'm dropping it on Spotify. It'll probably, I don't know if this will air maybe before that.
This
But
won't
I'm
air for like 3 or 4 weeks, so probably not.
So probably around that time then, because I'm dropping the song on Spotify the middle of April. So you guys definitely can go check that out on Spotify and iTunes, and I'm very excited about it because it's been a minute since I released a song. So yes,
Awesome.
that is all for me.
And I always forget my social medias are Pluto Cleric everywhere. I always forget to plug the actual social medias, but it's just Pluto Cleric on all platforms: Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, etc., etc., etc. It's literally just my Xbox gamer tab that I turned into my brand on everything else, so it works. But with that, Bree, thank you for joining us. It was awesome to talk
thank
to
you,
you.
Bree.
And
So much fun.
we will see you guys all next week. Have a good night.
Love you guys.